December 6, 2024. This is the S&P 500 E-Futures Mini on the 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. This is what the chart looked like today. Looked like there was kind of a little bit of sideways action. This is the economic data that came out at 5:30 Pacific Standard, which is the average hourly earnings and the non-farm employment change, as well as the unemployment rate. It caused this kind of really crazy volatility, spike up, consolidation, another rally. The sideways consolidation here, then a choppy sell-off, but kind of a larger consolidation trading range here. That's how I drew up the charts today. Now you could have captured this part as part of a larger range, but I didn't really bother because it didn't really help at seeing this as a big range. I took a total of one trade today and it was profitable, and I also got a decent, well, okay runner off of it. And other than that, there wasn't very many setups that I could find. So I'm going to get into the trades right now. Okay, so this is what the pre-market looks like. It was just kind of sideways action, and it was kind of this choppy movement. Economic data got released, another sideways consolidation, and then it starts to open. And on the open, I was trying to fit this price action appropriately by taking the bottom and trying to take it to the top. It doesn't look like it fits well here, here, or here. So I treat it as a spike consolidation and then another channel going up. So here you have a new high or the high of day. First entry long, pull back, second entry long, it's a bad signal bar, makes a double top, you reset the count, and then you only get a first entry long. It starts drifting up, and then that's where I started to place this green up channel. Looks like it fits pretty well. There's respect being paid to the resistance side. Get a first entry long here, bounce off the EMA. It also starts to look like it's moving sideways. So here's a break of the green up channel and a test of the high. So I'm not really sure if it's going to continue pushing up, but it has satisfied the requirement of testing the high after a breakout. Makes a double top. The count for a second entry long is reset. You have first entry long here, push back. Here creates a second entry long, and I clearly think we're in a sideways consolidation now, kind of like a sideways trading range. So I saw this as actually one touch, two touch, a potential third touch, also a failed breakout. Looks like there was one leg down here, push up, second leg. So it's like two legs down, break of the screen up channel, already tested the high. Now, whether the actual move started here or down here, I kind of treated it because I try to make something fit here. It didn't really fit all that well. So I started my bias of thinking is going bullish right here. So it looked like it made one leg up, break, tested the highs, kind of made two legs down, and I'm thinking it's going to start another push up. So that's actually where I set up to get a trade going, because it is break, technically has already tested the highs, bottom of the range, possible triple test, fail breakout, moving back into range. It closed right at the EMA. So after this signal bar closed, I wasn't really sure because I don't like this signal bar, but then it's confirmed second entry long. I had to wait for the trigger bar to close, and then I entered at the highs and one tick above this guy. There's one tick above this guy, entered, had to wait for this to close, flushed up, got my core profit. I had my runners waiting back here at the stop loss. As soon as it got filled, I moved it to one tick above this blue line. I waited for this. So when I see this red candle, I have my runner here. I'm just waiting. I don't get stopped out. Then I watch this carefully. It pushes up. So I move my runner one tick below this guy. And then as it pushed up, I wasn't sure it was going to push to make new highs. So I moved my runner one tick below. Well, I think I got a little bit better fill, but pretty much right here. And it flushed down. It also sets up what I thought was a possible trade, but I just got out of a trade. This is also a potential triple test, not the cleanest, but it wasn't the super cleanest down here either. I also created a new low, first entry short, second entry short. Break of this green up channel has tested the highs, failed to make the top, and it pushed really strongly down, engulfing the previous bar. So I thought this is a possible trade, but I had just gotten out of this trade, so I was certainly happy that I got a profitable trade. So I don't think I could trust my emotions just yet because I don't have quite the mental maturity to see this that quickly. But I like that it moved one tick above and then flushed, engulfed this strong close at the bottom. Definitely a worthwhile trade because you do have enough room to the bottom of the trading range. EMA doesn't quite matter. Didn't matter right about here because it started moving sideways. Here it still kind of matters, and then here it doesn't. It looked like it would have worked for a scalp. Pushes up. Prices are clearly in a trading range. It's chopping sideways, sitting on hands. Nothing I particularly like because it's in the middle of the range, just kind of floating. It's paying a lot of respect to this top side of the range, which is good. It's pushing down. It's a first entry long, pull back. Technically, you have a second entry long. It's a bad signal bar. Confirm second entry long here. It's a failed breakout of this trading range, but there's no real setup here. Now pushes really strongly back into the trading range. Comes up to here. Creates 3 attempts to push up, but it looked like it failed. It's coming back down, so you technically have first entry short. Now you have a second entry short here. I drew this downward trend line here. I saw this as a new low. It's a first entry short, pull back, second entry short. Second entry short also could be seen as a lower high of this visual first entry long, pull back, second entry long, pushing back down, and then create a lower high. But I saw it. Granted, it's all kind of sitting there. It is a third rejection of the downward trend line. I wasn't sure it was a trend channel just yet. And there's enough room to the lows. I also like this engulfed the entire previous candle and the 2 previous. So it's like engulf this guy, this guy, this guy. So this is a very strong move. There's probably enough for a scalp. If I wanted to enter, I would enter probably at the lows of this guy right here. And you can see I probably would have gotten filled and I would have gotten a continuation for a quick scalp. Prices then continue moving down. So initially, I wasn't sure if the channel was here. Then it broke out, and I dragged it down to here, almost a touch. So I'm watching this carefully. Second entry long here, not a good signal bar. Pushes up, hits this downward channel or trend line, whatever you want to call it, but it did hit it a 4th time, and it looks like it's stalling. It's kind of hits a sideways consolidation and pushes down. First entry long, pull back. You have a second entry long here, but before I drew this as a trading range, this is just sitting out in the middle of nowhere, so it's not a good trade to take. So it looks like it's 2 legs down. It pushes up gradually here, but there's no clean setup. You do have a new low here. First entry short, pull back. Second entry short. Second entry short. Now, in the larger context of things, prices moved up and now it's coming back down. This is maybe a trade because it's a new low. First entry short, second entry short. Didn't break above the EMA. The follow through to confirm a second entry short is a doji, so that doesn't really give me a lot of confidence. I'm looking for a lower high now to feel like, okay, there might be an entry, but you never get that. It kind of flushes up. Definitely, I'm not going to be entering on a trade to go short when I see this. Kind of sideways price action. I drew this channel, but it's very shallow. It doesn't really help that much. It's just very congested right here. As you can see, it's from 60.98 to 60, roughly 60.93. It's only 5 points of price action. Excuse me, 5 points of movement. So it's not really showing a clear trend, especially if I was thinking of going long, it'd be counter trend. Going short, once it broke above the EMA, I had to kind of sit tight and wait. Now, when it does break above the EMA, it kind of depends on how it broke. Like in this case, it broke on one candle, but the second candle, it fell through. When you see something like this where it breaks and decisively holds for several bars above it, now I'm not necessarily looking for a second entry short or failed second entry long because I'm above the EMA. It's the same thing here. So I'm a little more cautious because it broke up. If this one broke down and the next, this candle and this candle continue downwards, then okay, I trust the EMA is holding. But here in real time, you're not sure because it's dwelled so long outside of it. So it's a new low, it's a first entry short, pullback. This creates a second entry short. Now this second entry short, I thought was a possible trade. It's a little aggressive though, because you do have a new low, first entry short, second entry short, looks like it's 2 legs up. I like that it touched this downward trend line again. So it's like 1 touch, 2 touch. If you group this together, it's either 2 or 3 touches. Definitely a touch here, definitely a touch here. I like that it moved 2 ticks up, then flushed, closed very strongly down. So it's a confirmed second entry short. I didn't take the trade though, but if I did, I would have entered and likely gotten stopped out right here. So this is kind of like I think this was a decent trade, but it's one of those trades that even though it's high probability, the low probability occurrence kicked in and would have stopped you out. So this is a trade I think I would have taken, but I don't think I was quite paying attention. So it was kind of seeing it after the fact when it flushed up, flushed down. I was thinking of trying to enter. This is a 3-point candle, so it's about 12 ticks. I mean, reasonable. You had a lot of things going for it, so it was probably a trade worth taking. Just dumb luck wasn't mentally there to take it. And if I did, I think I would have taken a loss on it. Prices then continue moving up. I draw this loose looking trend channel, but it broke and dwelled so long outside of it, I ended up dragging it up. But I'm not very, I don't really like this channel. It's too big. It just doesn't look quite right. Fortunately, price action just kind of makes me not have to make any kind of decision because it just breaks right down and through. You have a first entry long, technically a second entry long here, but that's a bad signal bar. Plus it's below the EMA. It did test the lows of this down channel, so it's like green down channel, break, like first attempt up, and then just kind of continues back down. So you do have a new low, first entry short, but that's all you get. Flashes, and it hits this kind of trading range, and it creates what I think is technically a localized high here. First entry long, pullback, second entry long. Second entry long hasn't failed yet. You have a new low, first entry short. Technically, the second entry short count restarts, but if you were looking at it as a first entry short, this could be a setting up for a second entry short. Second entry short is confirmed here, and the failure of the second entry long is confirmed. But this is a little confusing for me. It is at the top of the range. EMA almost had a touch rejection. If it only had touched and had a good rejection, I would have maybe considered it. It's a decent signal bar. Price has already made 2 legs down though. So it's 1 leg down, 2 attempts up, and then the second leg down. This is larger than a measured move. So the concern that I have is when I see this, I said, wow, it kind of had trouble breaking through this support here. This support doesn't align with anything previously though. So it could still continue moving down, but it was something in the back of my mind. So it was close, but not quite good enough for me, but it is a possible trade. So if you put it at the low here, you would have had enough to get a quick scalp out of it. Definitely one of these candles would have given you your 1-point scalp. Then it consolidates sideways and it starts pushing up. You don't really get any clean second entries here. It hits the consolidation range. You do have a new low, first entry short. You technically have a second entry short here. It's a good signal bar. There's enough room for the EMA. I just wasn't that keen on it because it looked like there's a break of this orange up channel. Break. This recovery already moved more than 50% of this leg up. Then it pushed a second time. So maybe there's a second leg here. So I'll go ahead and mark it. This could be a potential second entry short. I just wasn't that excited about it. It is above the EMA. Technically, it does follow the rules, and it did break and test the high, and also broke and test the high of this guy already. So, okay, so I'll take it back. This is probably a possible trade, a little more aggressive. Prices then continue moving. You have a new low here. Well, localized new low. First entry short, second entry short, that's what I was talking about. Potentially a lower high here. Prices then continue moving up, and then you're kind of going into the last 10 minutes of the day. So overall, it wasn't super action-packed. Volume is low as it has been for the last, well, for a lot of this week. And I'm okay just taking this one trade and leaving the rest alone. And so yeah, hopefully, I think next week there might be a FOMC rate decision. Let me see. Actually, I'm wrong. Next week is just a clean, solid week of no FOMC. And then the week after, the 17th and 18th, that's when the FOMC, pretty much the 18th, is going to decide whether there's going to be a rate change or not. And they're going to, reduce or bump up the rates. Most people think they're going to maybe cut rates again. So hopefully that was helpful.